I finished reading volume one of Copper Coins, and I am pleasantly surprised by the story so far. I was initially intrigued by this one, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it. But I am glad that I did decide to read it in the end. Luckily, all three volumes were out when I made that decision. The story starts with a waiter and a night's watchman talking early in the mornings because there had been a strange customer coming to get food. This strange customer is a ghost named Zheng Xuning, and Zheng Xuning had died 3 years prior in a fire with his parents in their family's clinic. The waiter had been freaking out about Zheng Xuning coming every single morning, and on this particular morning, a monk also happens to be walking by, so he goes to the monk for help and leads him back to the Zheng family's clinic. This monk is Xuanmin, and when they part ways, the waiter realizes that Xuanmin looks like the monk in a wanted poster. Inside of the ruins of the clinic, Zheng Xuning gives the food to a paraplegic man named Xue Xian. Xue Xian is a dragon who had been stripped of his tendons and bones, and his spirit has also left his body, which he has been looking for the past 6 months. Jung Shuning reverts back to the paper doll body that Xue Xian created for him, and he tells Xue Xian that he thinks he was followed on his way back. Annoyed, Xue Xian also reverts to his paper doll body, and he disguises both himself and Young Shuning with an illusion spell, making them both look like clumps of moss. The disguise doesn't end up working as Xuan Min can see past the illusion, and as soon as he picks them up, the illusion is lifted, and he just puts them inside of his pouch and turns to leave. Xue Xian is very angry about this, but he is hoping that maybe he could steal something from the pouch before finding a way to escape. But before he can really think it through and Xuanmin can get very far, the waiter returns with officials from the county office to arrest Xuanmin. Xuanmin doesn't pay them any attention at first and tries to leave, which upsets the scribe of the county. However, after comparing Xuanmin to the poster and talking for a little bit, not that Xuanmin actually talked much, it is determined that Xuanmin is too young to be the dangerous monk that is on the wanted poster. They are about to part ways, but Xuanmin, who has already been cold to the officials, tells the scribe that he isn't going to live very long. While this is happening, Xue Xian is acting up inside of the pouch, which causes Xuanmin to remove him. The scribe is angrily yelling at Xuanmin, but before he can continue, Xuanmin explains that he has been marked, he just can't see it. This catches Xue Xian's attention, and he looks to see that the scribe really has been marked, and he gets angry when he realizes that it is his blood mark, and that this guy has something to do with him being stripped of his tendons and bones. The scribe is still angry and doesn't believe Xuanmin, but then a servant boy comes telling the scribe that there had been an accident with his son who had fallen into a well. Shocked, the scribe grabs Xuanmin and heads home. When they get there, Xue Xian notices that the home's interior is designed in a particular way, and Xuanmin trips the scribe, which causes him to fall, landing on his son's chest, which then causes his son to cough up the water so that he can breathe again. The scribe now sees Xuanmin differently and apologizes to him. He also points out the layout of his home and that he spent a lot of money on it, and that is the reason why he didn't believe Xuanmin when he said he was gonna die. The estate had been designed in a way to gather wealth, qi, and luck. Xue Xian is looking around and listening in. Zhang Xian asks what is going on and reveals that his family has bad blood with the scribe. This is when Xuanmin notices a door and asks who lives there. The scribe tries to play it off as just a side courtyard, but then someone pokes their head outside of the door. It is revealed to be the scribe's eldest son, who he sees as a disappointment. Xuanmin points out that the scribe had spent a lot of money for this specific layout of his home, but that there is a flaw in it, causing the yin and yang to be out of balance. The scribe then admits that the path leading to where the eldest son stays was added later on. Xue Xian notices that the eldest son seems to have a mental disability and also that the father doesn't seem to care for him. The area that the eldest son lives in has a lot of yin energy, and Xue Xian says that if he didn't know that the son lived there, he would have thought it was a burial mound. The scribe tries to play it off like his son wanted to live there, but no one believes him. They're looking around the small house, and Jung Shuning falls out of the pouch and transforms into a person again due to all of the yin energy. And he finds a nail sticking out of the floor. When they get closer, they look and see that it's not an ordinary nail and that there's a piece of paper stuck to it with something drawn on it. Xuanmin says that it's a feng shui array and then proceeds to ask the scribe a couple of questions. When this is happening, the eldest son sees the nail and touches it. This causes everyone to be sent into the array. Xue Xian wakes up by himself inside of the array and uses a talisman to summon lightning. This then leads Xue Min to finding him, and while the two of them are trying to find a way out of the array, they run into Zheng Shuning, and the three of them do manage to find a way out of the array. However, the scribe and the son are both stuck in the array. So Xuan Min destroys it, but the scribe and his son don't reappear. Then they hear someone sighing. They know it's not any of them, and Zheng Shuning points out that whoever is sighing sounds exhausted and that they are weak and possibly ill. When they were in the array, they had seen illusions of the scribe's mother. They had seen her relationship with her grandson, that she was ill and ended up dying of her illness, and that the Zheng family was blamed for her death. Xue Xian then remembers that there is a method of protecting one's home by burying an elderly person once they pass underneath the home. They then hear the sigh again and are able to figure out where it's coming from. They find a hollowed out stone that they lift to reveal a milled stone with a chain attached to it, and it looks like an invisible person has been pushing the stone. They set the yellow talisman that was on the chain on fire, which breaks it, and then they see a shadow morph into an old lady who was the scribe's mother that passed away. The scribe's eldest son then reappears into the room and he cries when he sees his grandmother. The scribe also comes into the room, and once he sees his mother, he is scared. He at first tries to blame a mysterious sorcerer for what he did, but his mother is not fooled and she slaps him and says that she knows that he paid for the home using the eldest son's life. Then she slaps him again because she also knows that the scribe switched out her medicine, then blamed the Young family for her death. She also tells her son that the debt needs to be repaid. Xuanmin explains that vengeful spirits can leave a mark on a wrongdoer, which is what the scribe's mother did when she slapped him. Before they leave, Xue Xian questions the scribe and learns that the scribe met a fisherman who was on the beach where Xue Xian was harmed. And the fisherman sold him a gold marble that the sorcerer used for the millstone. This angers Xue Xian to the point of him passing out because that gold marble is his body. After what happened to him, his body shrunk and turned into a golden marble. When Xue Xian wakes up, Xuanmin is freeing the old woman's soul and breaks the millstone. When the millstone breaks, two objects fall out. The first is the golden marble, and the second is a medical bell. The bell belonged to Zhang Shuning's family, and his parents' souls are trapped in the bell, and they need a living relative in order to free them from the bell. So they're going to have to find Zhang Shuning's sister who lives with her husband. This is when Xuan Min suddenly looks ill and closes his eyes like he's meditating. There are also red lines coming from the mole on his neck. So while Xuan Min is unresponsive, Xue Xian and Zhang Shuning use this as an opportunity to escape. They make their way to a different county to find a blind fortune teller, and when they get there, they run into Xuan Min again, who also wants to speak to the fortune teller. but the fortune teller isn't there, just his brother who is named Lu Nianqi. Lu Nianqi tells them that his brother hasn't been home for a while since he left to go to an island in the middle of the river. They go to the island to try and find the fortune teller, and they end up in an underground tomb. While they're falling into the underground tomb, Xue Xian's paper body gets damaged, so Xuanmin tethers his spirit to the golden marble. They do end up finding the fortune teller and the boatman that was with him. The fortune teller tells Xue Xian that five people had handled his golden marble, but he can't find one of them. He says the location of the fisherman, the sorcerer, the scribe, and of Xuanmin, who is already with them. He also tells Xuanmin that the person who left him a note with a drawing of a dragon scale and the words find them was himself. Xuanmin doesn't remember because he has memory loss. After all the questions are answered, they go to leave. However, things don't go smoothly. They end up falling into a body of water, and Xue Xian in his marble seems to be gravitating towards something at the bottom of the pool. Xue Xian ends up absorbing whatever it is and all of the water. With all of the water gone, they find statues for another feng shui array, which needed 300 lives. Throughout the story, they just keep running into the strangest things. And it doesn't end there because when they are leaving, it is revealed that the fortune teller and the boatman are both already dead, and there is a life exchange array around the fortune teller. And this is because the fortune teller is exchanging his life for his brother's life, who was destined to die young. This way, his brother can continue to live on. However, the side effect of this is that Lu Nianqi now has his brother's abilities and he is blind as well. They are then attacked by the corpses that are breaking out of the statues, and Xuanmin blows up the tomb and also the whole entire island. Xue Xian at this point fully digests the thing that he absorbs and is able to turn into a dragon again, but he is still paralyzed and also doesn't have clothes when he tries to turn into a human. So he decides to continue to rely on Xuanmin a little longer. He gets Xuanmin out of the water, and he also finds a corpse that is attached to a stone lock. This volume then ends with them going back to Lu Nianqi's home, and Xue Xian is bothering Xuanmin to go find a tailor to get him some clothes. I really did enjoy this volume. I thought it was pretty good and interesting. I'm reading volume 2 now, and it is interesting to see how the story is playing out. I think I'm going to end up really liking this series overall.